This morning's guest starts her Christmas meal with 3,000 pounds of turkey. Meet her. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Coastal South Carolina chapter of the American Red Cross on Pampas Drive in Myrtle Beach near the soon-to-open Market Common on the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. We're focused on the local chapter here, the Coastal South Carolina chapter, and we're visiting with its Chief Executive Officer, Angela Nicholas. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Greg.
What does that feel like to be called the Chief Executive Officer? That's a big deal. I mean, since you were down in the trenches all the time.
We are, and I thank you. Yes, it is a big deal, and it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy what I do.
Absolutely. Well, you know, there were so many things happening when we were last together in the earlier part of the year at Stevens Carpet Mill outlet there obviously on Frontage Road next door to the Sun News, your former employer. It was great being over there, and of course to hear about so many of the activities happening with the Coastal South Carolina chapter. 3 very large counties, Horry, Georgetown, and Williamsburg County.
Yes, very large, 3,000 square miles, about 335,000 people in the 3-county area.
Is that right?
Yes.
335,000 people in these 3 counties. Wow, that's
Right.
a lot to serve. And of course, as you said earlier before we started filming, fires don't discriminate, hurricanes
Right.
don't discriminate, tornadoes, other things don't discriminate. The Red Cross has to be there all the time, along with lots of other people, but to support the victims of these disasters.
That's right. The Red Cross is here 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We have disaster action team members that will respond to fires if they need to go out in the community. If someone's home burns at 4 a.m. and they need to call us, then we have people that will go out and assist them. And we provide some immediate shelter and food and clothing for those folks in need.
This happens often.
Oh,
This
yes.
happens more
yes.
than I think people know. They may see it on the news or read about it in the paper, but not really think about it happening all the time, but it really does.
That's right. I like to say most people think about the Red Cross when it comes to blood donations, which is a wonderful thing because we need the blood donations, or they think about us when there's a major disaster like a hurricane. But our day-to-day operations are responding to fires, home fires. And to that individual family, that is a major disaster.
Right.
And, you think about children losing their school clothes and their school books and everything that's near and dear to them.
Right.
So this year, since January 1st, we've had 185 responses to fires in the 3-county area.
Wow,
Which is
185.
huge.
Boy.
Right.
Where do you all get the funds to operate, Angela? How do you have, because obviously you've got to take donations to be able to reinvest them back into the victims of those 185 fires, let alone all the other things, the educational side. You're trying to do these mannequins and otherwise here, right behind us, to get out in the community, make sure folks know about ways the Red Cross can impact them.
Exactly. I mean, the fire responses, the disaster response is one part. We have the military emergency communications that we provide around the clock for military families. We have the life-saving skills courses such as CPR and first aid. But all of the funding that we have here in the local Red Cross comes locally. So we rely very heavily on the community and the wonderful donors that we have in the community. And of course, upcoming in 2 weeks from yesterday is our big Christmas Day dinner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
you all have raised all the money for that already, right?
No. I wish we had.
Sorry, that's
Greg.
a leading question. Yeah. Sorry.
I wish we had, but the community's very generous, and we're about halfway there. But we need a total of about $10,000 for that.
Oh boy!
Because we feed over 3,000 people.
Is that right?
That's
on
right.
Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day.
Wow! Not only at the 3 church locations, but also the plethora of folks that
Yes.
get it delivered to them.
Right. We have agencies that we partner with, such as Street Reach and Mobile Meals, Meals on Wheels, all those agencies that are not open on Christmas Day to do their normal feeding. The Red Cross actually provides delivered meals to those agencies as well, so that they can take it out to their folks. And, any individual in the community that needs a place to eat a hot meal on Christmas Day can come to one of the churches, Blaine United Methodist in Murrells Inlet, First Presbyterian Church in Myrtle Beach, and this year we have a new church, Trinity United Methodist, out in the Andrews area.
Right, I saw that.
And that church is actually reaching out some into Williamsburg County, too, to provide some meals. But that's a huge undertaking to do that Christmas Day dinner. And, you know, we really reach out to the community. And every year, some angels come out, and they help us make our goals. So we hope, you know, we're going to see that this year as well.
Those angels we'll see in the next less than 2 weeks now.
Right.
That's right. It being the,
getting close.
Golly, the 12th today. And so 2 weeks from yesterday. So there is a chance, if a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school, but they want to make a difference for that Christmas Day dinner or just in general for the Red Cross, is there a good phone number or a website they could visit to find out how they could help?
Oh, absolutely. They can call us right here at the chapter headquarters at 477-0020.
Okay.
Or check our website at coastalscarc.org. We have information on there.
Yeah.
They can make a credit card donation over the phone or just drop a check in the mail to 2795 Pampas Drive.
Right. And that's a secure website. They can also make a donation online, right?
We are not set up for that right now.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
But that's why we can do the credit cards over the phone.
Do it over the telephone.
Right.
That's great. I'm sorry, I should have interjected that because I know the phone's a great vehicle and people like to know they're talking to somebody on the other end and it can be handled over the phone.
Exactly, and we do have someone manning the desk at all hours. We have a great core of volunteers that work with the Christmas dinner.
Folks can come by here. This is such an easy location to find. If they enter from the former front gate or off of 17 Business, they just take their first left on Pampas, and then it comes straight over here, right by here. You're right next to the new Allied Health Center that's under construction, and right across from the Cathedral Academy and the Cathedral Church there. What a great location, very easy to find. And if you're coming in off the bypass, you just take one of your first rights, I guess the first big right, heading towards Horry Georgetown Tech.
Correct, Myers Avenue.
Myers Avenue, which is very easy to find.
Come right out to Pampas.
And they left on Pampas. So real easy to find here. And folks need to come by. I think they pop in and say, do you need me? They would find that there is, anyone in the office has got a litany of things where some help is needed.
Absolutely. You know, the Red Cross, we work with volunteers constantly. We have a very small paid staff, so volunteers is our core work group.
Real quick about yourself, Angela, what brought you to the Myrtle Beach area, to the Grand Strand?
I wanted to live at the beach.
Oh, good.
I wanted to live where the weather's warm, you know.
Yes, very definitely.
And we've had a great year. So.
Have you been into working with, I mentioned the Sun News, your former employer, have you worked in the... Had you worked in the giving back world, this type of a business before, or this type of world before?
Not really as a profession. I mean, I've been involved with a lot of nonprofit groups in the past, but I have a journalistic background, as you know, and spent most of my career in the news industry.
Right.
But transferring over to the nonprofit world has been very rewarding, and I truly enjoy the work that I do with the Red Cross. We have a wonderful mission. We, we go home every day feeling that we've done something very worthwhile for the community. So.
There was a tag on the top of one of the Red Cross pages that was looking through earlier this morning, directly touches the lives of 1 out of every 5 Americans. Directly.
That's correct.
Touching, not the anecdote, not off the side, but directly touching 1 out of 5 Americans' lives. That's a big deal.
It really is. It's amazing if you sit down and talk to people and you start talking about Red Cross. Almost everybody has a Red Cross story to tell in some form or other, you know, because they've either been personally touched or someone in their family, or it might have even been in their childhood.
Right.
But, you know, certainly a lot of the veterans are think very highly of the Red Cross because they've been helped in one way or another.
Now, you mentioned the donation aspect. The donations really push it. I think a lot of folks are under the assumption, and obviously based on what you said, the wrong assumption that the Red Cross was set up by the government, is therefore funded by the government.
That's right. We are chartered by Congress to do our work nationally, but we do not receive government funding to do that. So we are totally separate from the government, and as I said, we raise our own funds to support our own chapters. So I always ask people, close your eyes and imagine not having a Red Cross chapter in your area that you can turn to in disaster. And that's scary because we are the source, that people turn to. And we're proud. We're very proud that that's the case. So we reach out to the community to help keep our doors open and make sure that we can fulfill our mission.
You also turn to the United Way. You all are a community agency of the United Way.
We are a wonderful community agency of United Way and are great supporters of United Way, and we couldn't live without that support.
Right. Everyone, whether it's direct donations or through the United Way, it's a critical role there. And of course, when you think about, as we were talking earlier, there's not a typical fire, for instance, or a typical hurricane,
right,
but there are lots of fires that occur. Can you give viewers a sense of, let's say, the aftermath when you get the call here, who the call is coming from about a fire? How does that work? And let's say there's a family involved, a family of 5.
Right.
What's going on there in your volunteers' minds or in your mind as you hear that phone call?
Well, obviously, because we have such a large territory to work, we have to rely on working with the fire departments.
Okay.
And we work very closely with them, so they notify the family immediately that the Red Cross resources are there if they choose to use them. So at any hour of the night, if a family's burned out at 4 in the morning and they have to leave in their pajamas and no shoes, they can get immediate assistance from the Red Cross. I mentioned earlier our disaster action team volunteers. These are highly trained volunteers who are on call 24 hours a day. Obviously, they take turns and rotate, so the same person's not always on call. But we will respond to the site if that's needed, and we will help that family get into shelter for the evening, and we will provide them with some financial resources in the form of a debit card. And they can take that card right to a 24-hour Walmart or whatever's available so they can get some help right away with food and clothing.
That's tremendous.
It is. It's immediate emergency help. And that really helps the people get back on their feet again because...
Quickly, yes.
Quickly.
As you say, that idea that because fires don't discriminate, it could be 3 a.m. that
Exactly.
they're finally leaving the scene and they're coming to you or someone there on the scene's handing them that debit card and they got nothing.
Right.
And they're going somewhere, whether it's Walmart or someplace, they're Kroger or whatever it is that's open 24 hours. They can get clothes
get some help.
And something.
And find shelter. If they, some people choose to stay with family. Some people don't have family to stay with, so we can help put them up for a few days in a hotel until they can figure out what their next step is. And, many times they've lost all their credentials and their important papers and everything, so we provide them with some resources, help them make contact with the agencies that can help them get back on their feet, get started on the road to recovery. And we also provide some mental health counseling if that's needed as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Of course, with the holidays being a time where fires and candles and other things are out, where they may not have them during the rest of the year, they may not be thinking about even using those jacks in their house where they're going to be putting in Christmas lights and otherwise. These are important things to think about, particularly now.
It is.
Or do the incidents of fires rise around this time of the year?
They do. Sometimes they do. And we really promote planning and precaution and just, trying to think through what you're doing in your home so that you can be safe.
Right.
And every family needs a fire plan. Every family needs a way to know that their members are safe, have a safe place outside the home if your house catches fire, have a certain place designated that the family can meet so you know that everyone's out of the house.
Right.
Perhaps have a family member somewhere else as a contact so everybody can call in. That's mainly during a hurricane or a major storm, but everyone needs to have a disaster plan.